Good morning, our students, and welcome to this morning's class. Today is a continuation of the class that we already had started on time series, particularly looking at the components of time series, particularly now looking at trend and then the measurement of a trend. In our last class, we already had explained that there are various ways of measuring the trend from a time series what data or in a time series what data. One of which is what we call the freehand or the graphical method or graphic method. The second one we call the semi-average method. The third one we call the moving average method. And then the fourth one we called the least square method. In that our previous class, we already had looked at the freehand approach. We equally had looked at the semi-average approach. So today in our class, we want to look at the moving average method of removing the trend from a time series data, that is, measuring the effect of trend in time series data and then removing it by the approach of a moving average. And then in the moving average, of course, we have what we call 3-point moving average, 4-point moving average, 5-point moving average, depending on the interest of what of the researcher and then the nature of the time series data set. Now, for instance, we have a question on the board to use to showcase how to go about obtaining 3-point moving average from a time series data, or what we call 3-point moving averages from a time series what data. The time series data that is given to us is pasted displays, where we are given the year and we are given the number of the bags, which could be number of the bags of maize produced by a farmer in year 1995, number of bags of beans produced by a farmer 1996, down to the number of what beans produced by a farmer in 2004. So this is a time series data. Why is it a time series data? Because these observations are recorded against time of their occurrence. And in our class or introductory aspect of our class on time series, we did say that a time series is a set of observations that are recorded against the time of their occurrence. So this is a time series data. And we are told from this time series data, obtain 3-point moving averages. And then this is our solution. Then this is our year, just like we have it here. These are the number of what of the bags of beans produced in these various what years, just like we had it here. Then we now come over here. We have now a column as a way of providing solution to these 3-point moving averages, which of course is required from us. We had decided to begin by obtaining what we call 3-point moving totals. 3-point moving what? Totals. Interest should be paid on this word 3 here, or on this number here 3 here. 3-point moving totals. When they talk about 3-point moving totals, what you do is you begin from the first data point, which is in the year 1995. Then you count 3. 1, 2, 3. Then you'll be able to sum the number of bags that are produced in these 3 years, because you are talking about what 3 points. If you talk about 4 points, you are going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4 before we begin to sum their totals, or before we begin to obtain their totals by summing the number of bags in each year. So here the interest is on the 3-point moving averages. So on obtaining the 3-point moving totals, you count 3 points from the beginning of the data set. 1, 2, 3. You sum their observations. And then by the calculation that we already had done, if you say 332 plus 317 plus 357, the answer is 1006. But the big question here is, this 1006 which you have obtained is not belonging to the year 1995. It's not belonging to the year 1996. Neither is it belonging to the year 1997. Instead, it belongs to all of them. So we are not going to write against 1995. We are not going to write against 1997. So to say, we might not say we are writing it against 1996. What we are saying is that we are going to obtain the center point of these years 1995, 1996, and 1997. And the center point falls on this year 1996. And that is the reason why we recorded this total 1,600 or 1,006 against this year 1996. Because it is the center point between these 3 years. Okay? What do we mean that by average? Average means total number of the points you are interested in divided by the number of the what of the points. We are interested in 3-point moving averages. We have obtained our 3-point moving total here. What do? We now divide this 3-point moving total by 3 in order to arrive at what we call 3-point moving average. So this 335.33 is obtained by saying 1006 divided by what? By 3, you'll be able to arrive at this. And this is what we call 3-point moving average. Then when I come, you want to go over to the next one. You are going to drop the first what? Data point. That is to say that as you want to go over to calculating the next 3-point moving total or 3-point moving average, you are not going to begin to count from the first one, because in the first one, you already have started counting from the first one. So you skip the first data point and you start from the second one. Starting from the second one, you say 1, 2, 3, just like you did before. Then the total here is going to be 317 plus 357 plus 392. The total, which of course we have computed, is 1066. This 1066 is not belonging to 1996. So to say, it's not belonging to 1997, neither is it belonging to 1998. Instead, it belongs to all of them. And because of that, we are going to get the center point between these 3 years, 1996, 1997, and 1998. And the center point coincides with this year, 1996. And that is the reason why we wrote this 1066 against this year, 1997. And then we equally divided by 3 to arrive at 355.33, which of course is the moving average. Once you want to go to the next one, you are not going to count the first data point, you are not going to count the second data point. You begin from the third one. You say 1, 2, 3. This time around, what you are now going to do is 357 plus 392 plus 402. The average, of course, the total is of course 1,151. Divided by 3, you arrive at 383.67. When you want to go over to the next one, you will not count the first, you will not count the second, you will not count the third. You begin from what? From the fourth. Then you now say 1998 year, 1999 year, and 2000. So getting your totals is going to be from 392 plus 402 plus 405. The total will be able to give you 119 or 1199, 1199. If you divide by 3, you'll be able to arrive at 399.67. And the approach continues till you arrive at the last one. But then there are things that we want to point out here. When you compute your 3-point moving totals or 3-point moving averages, you find out that a data point is lost at the beginning, and equally a data point is lost what at the end. The same thing applies here. A data point is lost at the beginning, and a data point is lost what at the end. That is the reason why oftentimes they ask, when a 3-point moving averages is computed from a data set, how many data points are lost from the beginning of that data set? One data point is lost from the beginning, one data point is lost what at the end. So when they ask what is the total number of data points that is lost when we compute a 3-point moving what averages, the answer is what? 2 data points are lost in total when we compute the 3-point moving what averages. But when the question is concerned with the number of data point that is lost either in the beginning or at the end, it is 1 that is lost at the beginning and is equally 1 that is lost what at the end. That is, of course, what is always the disadvantage of what of moving averages. Because when you must have computed your moving averages and you want to work with these moving averages on the grounds that you have smoothed out your trend, you find out that you do not have the original number of data points again. You are working with data points that are less than the original data point. And of course, it is a disadvantage of moving average methods. So when you are asked to calculate a 3-point moving averages, just do the same thing which I have done here. You have your time, which in this context is my year. You have the observations given to you, which in this context is number of what of bags. Preferably, start from the 3-point moving totals, going by the explanations I earlier had given to you. And of course, the moment you obtain your 3-point moving what total, you divide by 3 to arrive at your 3-point moving averages. So the column I have here is what we call the 3-point moving averages. This is what we call the 3-point moving averages. This one is what we call the 3-point moving total. In case they ask that you equally have to compute a 3-point moving totals. Without wasting much of your time, this is what we have to tell you about 3-point moving averages. We are going to conduct a class on 4-point moving averages and be able to tell you a little difference between 4-point moving average and then the 3-point moving average. Because in the 4-point moving average now, we talk about centering. Okay? But in this case, we do not talk about center because we are dealing with an odd number 3. But in the other one, we will be dealing with what we call an even number 4. So if you come in that one, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, you sum all of them, you will not be able to know where to keep your total or keep your average. But it was easy for us here because we had 1, 2, 3, and then when we talk about centering it now, the center one is here, and then we begin to position our totals or our averages. So stay connected with us in the classes as we go over to discussing the 4-point moving averages. Thank you for your audience this morning, and then do not fail to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube videos. If you have challenges, please do share with us. Once in the comment section, once I come across it, definitely I will react to you.